A new door is opening. Step over the threshold. You have new love coming in. A lot of you have waited a very long time to encounter true love, to encounter something lasting, to encounter something healthy, to encounter something reciprocal. And now is the time. This may involve you taking a leap of faith in a new direction. For some of you, you're going to get the opportunity to travel, to relocate, something that comes forth very spontaneously. That's kind of like a now or never sort of offer. And when you jump on that, it puts you in the right proximity to encounter this person who has been searching for all the same things that you have been searching for. They've reached the end of their rope as far as, the avenues that they have previously looked in for love and have come up empty-handed. So it feels like this person that you are getting ready to align with, you're getting ready to encounter, you are getting ready to meet. They come towards you with the same sense of expectation and openness for what the future has to hold. They are somebody who has also closed out of, it feels like, or is getting ready to close out of a powerful chapter in their own life. This can even relate to something where you're both kind of aligned on this path of travel, relocation, spontaneity, a series of like little steps that the universe provides to the two of you that help to move you out of your usual environment, your usual mindset, your usual emotional place. This can be something that dovetails with like blessings that happen, some kind of unexpected prosperity that happens, that for you and this person opens up the future. And instead of kind of like, I'm just doing what I have to do to get by, there's a sense of being able to call in bigger dreams and goals, reach those things in a more timely fashion, or in a more kind of, extravagant fashion is what's coming through. So this can, mean like you're leveling up your life in some sort of way. And it feels like this is something that puts you in that right proximity with this person and them with you, to where it's not just abundance of experience or abundance of material, possibilities that are open for you or accessible for you, but it puts you on that right timeline and frequency to meet this person, for you to meet one another, to have this kind of like new love story that is relevant for where you're headed in life, as opposed to where you've been, what you've had to struggle through, what you've had to release, and what you've had to let go of. The idea of innovation is coming in, excitement, adventure. It feels like for a lot of you, this is going to be somebody that provides all of that energy of like innovation, excitement, and adventure, because this is somebody reliable. This is somebody that you can depend on. This is somebody consistent, that totally counteracts your experiences of love previously, your beliefs of sort of what was out there, the idea of something very different than what you've known or what you've experienced before. So for some of you, there can be cultural differences between the two of you, something where this person was like raised in a different sort of way, or in a different setting, or in a different place. And so the values that they bring to the table, what has been templated for them as far as love is concerned, it's very different from the pool of people that you've dealt with, the viewpoints or the ways of kind of moving through life of the people that you're used to dealing with, that you have experienced up to this point in time, that could only show you like one limited version of what it means to connect romantically with another person, what it means to connect with like emotionally with another person, what it feels to sort of link your life up with another person. This person that you're getting ready to meet brings an entirely different skill set to the table. They bring an entirely different template or an entirely different program, an entirely different sort of way of looking at life and looking at love than you've ever experienced before, and you for them as well. So it feels like it's going to be something very exploratory for the two of you, that is outside of the box. In many ways, you are unlike anything that the other person has ever experienced directly, or had the pleasure of sort of working with emotionally. There are other factors, it feels like, as well, that are really going to be, kind of an innovative experience for the two of you. So this is outside the usual type and expectation. This is outside the usual kind of way in which you will meet someone, and it's outside of the usual sort of energies or influences or experiences that previous people you and this person have dealt with romantically have brought to the table. You each bring something in very new. So there's a lot of curiosity with this as well, kind of an openness. I want to get to know you. I want to explore this. Not just I'm open to love, but, tell me about yourself. Teach me about kind of the formative experiences that you've had, where you've come from, how that has sort of shaped your choices in life, or what has led you to this particular place in life. We also have create, activate your DNA. Yeah, so this is something where you've created an opportunity for yourself, maybe even just in your willingness to kind of try new things, to explore new things, or other sort of goals that you've actively been trying to manifest for yourself and that this person's been trying to manifest for themselves. This is something that brings you both into that place of alignment. You're focused on other things, you're focused on the material, and all of a sudden love walks in the door. All of a sudden, you encounter that person that's flight and travel, maybe something significant here. It's, for some of you, this is going to be somebody you meet during a layover, like a long layover in an airport, and you're in the lounge, you're in the lobby, and you start talking to a stranger. They start talking to you. You get immersed in conversation, you exchange contact information, and there begins your love story right there in a place that you're not there kind of like looking to find love, and yet love finds you. For others of you, this involves kind of like something that brings you to another place for work. Maybe you start traveling for work. And again, this kind of puts you in new environments, in new situations, around different kinds of people than you had, encountered before or dealt with before directly. For others of you, this involves some kind of a relocation, a new scenery, a new setting, a new town, a new state, a new country. And for this person as well, it feels like you're both sort of leaving the comfort of the familiar. You're leaving the comfort of the home base and going forth towards something different, towards something new, seizing the opportunity to experience life to its fullest. And it feels like that sort of spirit of innovation or adventure is something that will be very important, within this. It's almost like you're pioneering a new era of your life, and it allows you and this person to pioneer a new experience as far as romance is concerned. Something that it may be as well, kind of the dynamic between the two of you could be very different from the types of romances that people in both your lineages had ever experienced. You both can be people that are sort of like breaking those generational chains and, choosing something and being chosen by something that is more high vibrational, that is more healthy, or just is a totally different experience, especially if there's like cultural differences between the two of you. This can be something that is very different from what like other people in your family, other people in generations, before or even kind of like current generations, what their experiences of love and partnership are, where they've sought out love and partnership, what those relationships have looked like, what those family units have looked like, what those marriages have looked like. This is something that in a lot of ways, it's like a blending of two different energies in order to sort of create a new path or a new legacy forward towards something that there's almost like no point of comparison for that experience for anyone like around you in an immediate sort of biological sense. And we also have be curious, look deeper. So it feels like this person is going to like catch your eye right away. There's going to be something within you that is kind of like, I don't know why, but I'm very drawn to this person. They may be somebody that like the way they dress catches your eye, the way they carry themselves. I'm hearing distinguished. And so it feels like this is going to be somebody that's very distinguished, like a distinguished gentleman. They've got a distinguished, kind of face, or the way that they're sort of, their aura and energy kind of introduces them as soon as they enter the room or within a certain space, especially if there's kind of like, cultural differences. This can be somebody that, sticks out like a sore thumb within sort of the status quo that you are around. So there's something about them which really kind of captivates you, captures your attention. It's something that it feels like for this person as well. There are things about you which are just like they have never experienced before. It's going to be a lot of mutual curiosity on both of your parts, to get to know one another, not just get to know one another as people, but get to know kind of like where you've come from, the ways in which you grew up, how that sort of influenced, your choices in life, or maybe choices you didn't have in life. All of that is going to be ingredients within this sort of experience with one another, that it feels like you're going to be able to have a very new and unique experience in love and partnership. Something that is like almost deeply appreciative, as kind of like, wow, I stepped out of my comfort zone. I broke away from the pack. I did something different for myself, where I was given the opportunity, to move out of kind of like a certain sort of radius, a certain sort of bubble, a sphere of influence, kind of like everything that I had known and grown up with, or, wherever you had been sort of like you laid down your roots up to a particular point in time. There's a sense of kind of like leaving certain things behind, wanting something more, reaching for something more, taking those action steps in order to generate those experiences in the here and now, that not only bring, it feels like, a fulfillment of a greater awareness of the world itself, or the way that people in the world live, but there's also this experience of like love and romance. For some of you, this is something that if you have an opportunity to study abroad, like be an exchange student, or this person maybe, coming to study where you live, they're from another country, they are the exchange student. This is where that love happens, within that sort of place of kind of like, okay, I was wanting something more for myself in terms of education. I left kind of what was familiar in order to go have these different experiences. And not only was I enriched mentally or intellectually, but also romantically, emotionally. That's where I met her, and that's where I met the love of my life. So for some of you, this is like, yeah, you're a forever person. And for others of you, this is just kind of like a new and unique experience in romance that may be something temporary, or it may be something that has that longer term potential, but the obstacle and challenge of like distance and travel may be a factor in a certain way as well. We also have B, the powerful space between opposite poles. Yeah, so you and this person are like night and day. That is also, the recipe for being the yin to one another's yang. You are able to kind of connect under certain common themes, common interests, common emotions, or a common sense of sort of like, I feel something, I feel a connection, I feel an interest, I feel an attraction, I want to get to know you. But it feels like this is an experience where you're not just having a new type of love in terms of someone that brings something very different to the table than you've known or had, contact with up to this point in time, and is also able to receive from you in different sorts of ways, emotionally. But it's kind of like you learn more about sort of the way other people, globally are, or something that is kind of like outside of, the range of what you've been exposed to so far. So there could even be something where this person's from like a different sort of social class than you. They have a very different background than you. They had very different sort of life experiences. And so you have something to exchange with one another that enriches you both as people, to have that experience of like being up close and personal, not just in a platonic sense of like, oh, we can have this friendship with, two people that are from like very different walks of life, very different backgrounds, but it's the experience of romance, the gratitude to have that romantic opportunity with somebody that almost like doesn't come from the world that you grew up in, or you are familiar with, or that you've come to understand. And also you for this person. It feels like this is an experience then that will help both of you to see anything that has been kind of like unfulfilling in terms of, the pool of people that you've dealt with so far, or, unsuccessful attempts to find love and romance in kind of, the ways in which you've typically done it. It's almost like you're each bringing something different to the table that's like, oh, so there was something more out there. I was just looking a little too close to home. I wasn't casting a wide enough net. I was just sort of like looking at what was immediately around me. I was gravitating towards the familiar, and so there's something that you're able to each bring to the table in this situation that it feels like helps you to see, like, yeah, the parts of myself that maybe other people couldn't love, other people couldn't appreciate, other people couldn't respect. It wasn't something wrong with me. I just needed to kind of like look further outside of the box, and there are people out there, there's somebody out there that will appreciate that, that will love that, that will cherish that. We also have defend what is dear to you. So it feels like this person is going to be very protective over this connection, very kind of like conscientious about their exchanges with you, the time spent with you. There may be kind of like limited time that you have with one another, especially if like distance is a factor. This is not going to be somebody that's nonchalant, but it's kind of like, okay, I've met you under this unique circumstance, so I'm going to make the most of the time that we have. I'm going to make sure that we are like getting to know one another on that deep personal level, and that where we are able to kind of move forward towards emotionally or actually, that this is something that is not taken for granted. It feels like this is somebody that has the ability to protect your heart, to protect your emotional interest in a way that other people that you've dated before couldn't or wouldn't. So again, this is a different kind of an energy that is brought to the table here. It's a distinguished energy. It's a chivalrous energy. And maybe somebody that would have almost what would be considered like traditional sorts of values, things that you've not experienced in anybody like within your own culture or within your own like age group. There could be an age difference between the two of you, or like they come from an older generation. They were raised differently, they got different perceptions of love. They have different, kind of beliefs as far as like the roles that people should play within a romantic relationship, or the role that they themselves feel most comfortable embodying. And so it feels like that is something that may be very different. If you've been dealing with people just in your own age group, it's something like this individual brings a different perspective to the table that again helps you to see like, hey, there are people that are not just going to waste my time or, take me for a ride emotionally. There are people that are going to take me seriously. There are people that are going to respect me, respect my time, respect my energy, respect the experience. We also have sacred journey, pilgrimage. Yeah, so that's more of that energy of travel, relocation. This is somebody that you might both agree to kind of like relocate to be with one another. There may be periods of time where you're having to have like virtual interactions with one another, but this is not someone that's just kind of like, okay, we're not physically around one another at all times, so I'll just catch you when I'm in town. I'll see you when I see you. This is somebody that's going to go out of their way to make sure that there are accommodations made for this, that you are, feeling comfortable with the dynamic as it is, expanding between the two of you, that this is something where, you feel your emotional needs are being met. Definitely if there is like distance between the two of you, this is somebody that is going to try to go out of their way to make sure that you have a lot of trust established with one another, that there's not kind of like fears that may be irrational or, based on reality. If you've had other like online connections before and it's like, okay, I don't really know what this person's doing when they're not talking to me. I don't know kind of who else they're talking to, or what else is sort of like going on in their life and in their reality, because we're too far enough away to like spontaneously get together. It's kind of just, on faith that I have to sort of believe that like, yeah, you're just talking to me, we're exclusive, whatever. And this is somebody that it feels like is going to be very mindful of that, very appreciative of that. They're going to make sure that as much as possible, there's a sense of like, yeah, I got my eyes only on you. I got my attention directed only towards you. You don't have to worry about who else I'm with, who else I'm talking to, what else I'm doing. So it's like they're gonna give you these peeks into their world in a way that might also be, again, like more sort of generous, or they're making efforts in ways that people that you might even just live like right down the street from couldn't be bothered to do, or people that you'd had other like, connections with some sort of distance as a factor had not done before in the past either. Okay, we have weave your destiny. Yeah, so this is something that is an example of you have aligned with this person, you have aligned with this opportunity, you are aligning with this experience because of your courage to choose more for yourself, to choose better for yourself, to say no to cycles and people and circumstances that aren't bringing out the best in you, that aren't making you feel good, that aren't making you feel celebrated, that aren't making you feel cherished. You've had enough of that. You've had enough of doing all the heavy lifting and, struggling to be understood, or struggling to encounter someone and exchange with someone that is reciprocal, that takes care of your heart emotionally, that is showing up in an excited and consistent and honest way within the connection. So all of those things that you've had to walk away from have essentially like laid out a red carpet for you to step straight into a chapter and an era of your life where a new type of love enters. And it's not just kind of like, okay, a better caliber of person that you're getting ready to date, but it feels like this person brings a lot of different kinds of experiences. It's like an adventure to love this person. It's something that opens your mind to different ways of thinking, different ways of being, different perspectives, something where it's like even the experiences with one another where travel may be involved, or you're getting to like see where this person has come from, where they grew up, the culture that they come from, and vice versa, you for them. It's like the two of you evolve as people. You gain more of that worldly perspective, not like the world has its way with you and you're world weary, but it's almost like an expansive sort of energy, kind of like, you've gotten those passport stamps with one another on this kind of like new experience, something that it's like, yeah, I want to keep returning to this. I want to keep returning to this type of love, to this type of person, to this sort of energy that is brought into my life, as opposed to, things that were very familiar, but were deeply unsatisfying before. We also have love with an open heart. So it feels like, in addition to kind of a different perspective, a different way of being, this person brings to you an emotional openness that, may be something you've never encountered in anybody before. This is somebody that is very eager to get to know you, very eager to open up, very eager to have experiences with you. They may be somebody that is very devoted as far as love, very affectionate, very romantic. This is somebody that's like, they're very enthusiastic to have this experience with you. They're very enthusiastic to, get to know you. And it's the blessing of the circumstance will not be lost on them. Just as it, like, you're stepping into a new chapter of your reality where it feels like, these blessings start to come forth for you. And there's this blessing of a very different type of love than you've known before. This person feels the same way. So it feels like there'll be a lot of closeness, a lot of intimacy, something that will be a very satisfying connection. For a lot of you, this is going to be long-term partnership. This will be like future spouse energy. For others of you, this is something where, you'll have your time with one another, but it shows to you that it's kind of like, okay, anything that I was maybe asking for in love that couldn't be reciprocated before by other people, or that I was made to feel was too much, I was just like asking the wrong person. I was asking the wrong type of person, or, something where you might have felt very out of place with your emotional needs or your emotional desires. It's like this person is like, that's not too much. That's exactly what I'm looking for as well. And they may show you new things that you didn't even know were possibilities, as far as like, oh, someone can be romantic in this capacity, someone can be affectionate in this capacity, someone could, see me and appreciate me in this capacity, allow themselves to be seen and appreciated in this capacity. Great, I'm on board for that. This is the direction that I want to look towards for future relationships. This is kind of that branching out energy outside of the comfort zone, moving in the direction of love. So those are your messages. I hope that they resonated with you and that you enjoyed the reading. Like or comment to claim these energies. Subscribe to my channel if you'd like to see more content that I put out here. Don't forget to hit the bell button to get notifications every time I post a new video. And if you would like to book a personal reading with me, I offer those through my Etsy shop, and there's a link for that below. I hope to see you again in another reading. Please take care and be well.